Details of these and more after this break. I am Charles Oporum. Now the news in detail. President Muhammadu Buhari has extended the mandate of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 until March 2021. He gave the approval on Tuesday at a meeting with members of the task force at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. At the meeting, President Buhari received the end-of-year report of the task force led by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa. He noted that the mandate of the PTF was extended for a further period of 3 months, bearing in mind the new surge in the number of cases and the bid for vaccines. According to the President, recent reports have indicated that Nigeria is facing a rise in confirmed COVID-19 cases, a situation that is similar to the second wave of infections recorded in other countries. He added that new epicenters have been identified and Nigeria cannot afford to lose the gains of the last 9 months. The Edo State Governor, Godwin Obaseki, has charged religious leaders in the state to engage and educate their congregation on the severity of the second wave of the coronavirus pandemic. Speaking with a cross-section of religious leaders during a virtual meeting on Tuesday, the governor said it was necessary to get the input and buy-in of relevant stakeholders as the state begins a second campaign to halt the spread of coronavirus in the state. The governor has stepped up engagement with stakeholders across the state as he fashions a coordinated response to coronavirus in the wake of the second wave of the pandemic. The governor had earlier engaged representatives of media organizations on the same issues. A former commissioner for health in Edo State, Dr. Patrick Okundia, says the state and its medical professionals are ready for the second wave of the coronavirus pandemic. He disclosed this on Tuesday in Benin during a meeting organized by the Medical and Dental Consultants Association, Edo State Hospital Management Board chapter. He said the fear of the first wave of COVID-19 drove the state's response to ensure that it left no stone unturned in getting things done properly. He noted that the health sector's response preparedness has been achieved in the state during the first wave, adding that it prepared the state for any other outbreak, including the second wave. Okundia disclosed that lives lost in the first wave in the state were those of vulnerable persons who could have died without COVID-19. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, says terrorists target schools for abduction of vulnerable children to embarrass the government and inflict damage on the credibility of a nation. Mohammed was reacting to the abduction and rescue of 344 schoolboys in Kankara and 80 Islamic school students, both in Katsina State, as well as 110 schoolgirls in Dapchi, Yobe in 2018. The minister said attacks on such soft targets were deliberate because it would attract global concerns. The minister, however, commended the nation's security and intelligence agencies for their promptness, synergy, and professionalism in ensuring the rescue of the victims. He noted that no country in the world is immune to terrorist attacks. Coming up in a moment, SIM owners to be held liable for offences committed with NIN-linked SIM cards. Stay with us, please.
At split seconds, there is a lot happening around us, but we can't be everywhere all the time. We've got work, families, and chores to cater to, and most importantly, time to rest. And that's why having a reliable partner like KUFM News is important. Sleeping? We don't. We work round the clock, bringing you stories as they break from Nigeria and across the world. We would stop at nothing to keep you informed, because KUFM News is all about you and stories that affect you. Politics, business, human interests, sports, entertainment, just name it. We've got you covered. KUFM News. Timely, precise, spot on.
Welcome back. The National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, has advised Nigerians to avoid sharing their national identification number with unauthorized persons. In a statement issued on its Twitter handle, NIMC said the NIN, when shared wrongly, could be used to perpetrate fraud against the owner. The Commission advised that persons engaged in such fraudulent acts should be reported to the National Identity Management Commission. The registration for NIN commenced a few days ago after a federal government directive mandated telecommunications to suspend SIM cards not linked to NIN. Coming up in a moment on our Extra Voices, Reactions Trail 2020 as Nigerians review major events that shaped the year. Stay with us, please.
In the ever-revolving world of news, one story becomes extinct the moment another major story breaks.
Market women don't know whether they be any to.
But with KUFM's Extra Voices, the story never dies. It just takes on a new life.
Market
there's no water in the house. The toilet is not good.
We don't have any fashion in APC.
We bring you new angles and fresh perspectives to every story, no matter how old or remote.
There are a lot of educated people that are involved in politics nowadays.
We go a little beyond the surface to get you those extra details ignored in the rush for the news.
Now bridge, now we take the enters now.
So don't die for inside.
We go beyond the lines to bring extra voices, not just for those making the stories.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
But for those affected by the stories.
I've lost one bag of rice. Documents.
So it's a real disaster.
With Extra Voices, we add new flavor to give fresh perspective and taste to an old story. Extra Voices airs every Wednesday and weekends on KUFM's major news bulletins.
The year 2020 means different things to a number of people. While the year could have passed as one to be remembered for some people, many still consider the year as not being a good one. In this edition of Extra Voices, our correspondent, Nusakai Owadiai, highlights the good, the bad, and the ugly of 2020, especially in the health sector.
The year 2020 is winding down, but the challenges it brought is still bold in the minds of many. It began with so much prospects, and many citizens across the world were full of aspirations. Soon it vetted its unforeseen challenges, such as COVID-19 and its lockdown, the SARS protest, which culminated into unrest, and eventually insecurity sets in.
Come on, no worry.
The prisoners they run. Freedom.
Chairman of Nigerian Medical Association, Edo State Chapter, Dr. Harrison Omohua, said it is a sad year.
Soon after we cruised into the year 2020, when a lot of persons were beginning to think of how to make good their New Year resolutions, and then we were hit by the pandemic, precisely in February 2020, and like a child's play, we found ourselves in a very serious global crisis.
Dr. Emmanuel Duware, Deputy Lead Rapid Response Team for COVID-19 and other infectious diseases, University of Benin Teaching Hospital, UBTH, shares his experience with Extra Voices.
Did thousands of tests, and we had hundreds of persons return positive. We had to, including up to by 100 of our own healthcare workers here. We had up to 21% mortality rate for those who were admitted, and bulk of those people died within 24 to 48 hours of admission. That means most of them came late. Again, the bulk of them were those aged 16 and above, and the few who were aged younger or had or cause severe comorbidity, that they had background illnesses that predisposed them to become prey to severe morbidity and also mortality eventually with COVID-19 pandemic.
Austin Owenaze, a senior nurse at UBTH who volunteered to work in the hospital's isolation center, described the year as a turbulent year.
It has not been too easy for us because it's a new infirmity, a lot of challenges. Before now, this isolation center, we have close to about 26 patients, can take 26 patients at a go. When the thing started, it started, gradually. But at the peak, the whole place was filled up. And after a time, the thing started going down again. But of course, you are aware now that there is a second wave of the COVID now.
He said the quick response of UBTH management saved the day.
Management asked people to volunteer. Although then a lot of people were afraid, and that was what prompted me to say, let me volunteer. Because after all, I'm a nurse. So you remember that this year is declared by WHO as the year of the nurse.
Worstly, Dr. Omohua said the country's health sector is ill-equipped.
Came at a point when the Nigerian health sector was ill-equipped, still ill-equipped to handle such a health crisis. The first problem was how to cope what was before us, the COVID-19, and then that threw everyone into serious crisis.
In the political space, the year sprang surprises. The Edo State Deputy Governor, Comrade Philip Shaibu, described the year as a good one.
For me, for this year, thank God Edo people rejected them and told them that we, Edo, not be Lagos.
Others share his opinion.
Year 2020 is a year that marked the beginning of a political watershed in the Edo State, where Edo people say no for Godfather reason. That's number one. I'm happy for that. Two, it's a year that God has kept me alive. I have bread.
Many other respondents, including Barrister Jefferson Uworien, expressed mixed feelings about the year.
Since I was born, I've been young. I'm over 50, going 60 by the grace of God. I've never seen a year like this. A year where you wash your hand, not to eat, but to wash your hand to stay alive. You block your nose, you do all sorts. A year that has, claimed a lot of lives in their prime. A year that the economy of this world turned upside down.
Things went down. In terms of crisis, COVID-19, NSAS, and protests and all that. I think it was a terrible year.
It was a year when a lot of things slowed down in terms of the challenges of COVID, which meant a lot of economic activities and movements, travels slowed down. And then we also had the experience of NSAS revolt.
But from my own side, by God's grace, God still bless me because my wife is born successful, so I are people.
The likes of Dr. Harrison Omohua think the year has taught the country lessons.
We need to be prepared for any event, particularly in the way we live our life. Going forward, learning from 2020, God in his infinite mercy has kept us alive. For those who we lost, we pray that the God will give them the rest. And then for those who have been fortunate to be alive, to have witnessed this and we are alive, that we need to change our lifestyle.
Nevertheless, it is different strokes for different folks. For KUFM Extra Voices, Nusa Hai Watiai.
Coming up in a moment on our business news, Governor Obaseki calls for a review of gas sales agreement as a new integrated gas plant breathes in Edo State. Details in a moment after this break.
1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 600 billion, and the last kobo. Oh yes, we follow the money. It's all about the business and the business of business. The gains and the losses. The bulls and bears. The rise and falls. The risk and the satisfaction of seeing the last kobo rise to millions. On KUFM's Business News, the simple and complex jargons of business just make sense. Get the trending news on the morning market, forecast, investment opportunities, policy changes, and other breakout information on the ever-busy world of business. KU Business News, Monday to Friday on our news dawn, 6:30 to 7 a.m.
Welcome back. You're still on to News Dawn on 92.7 KUFM Benin City. And on business, the Edo State Governor, Godwin Obaseki, on Tuesday called for a review of the Gas Sales Agreement, or GSA, to reflect market realities in the country. Governor Obaseki made the call during the commissioning of the Nigerian Petroleum Development Company's gas handling facility at Olugbo on Tuesday. The governor assured his administration will continue to provide an enabling environment to attract investment and ensure businesses thrive. He said the gas sales agreement signed many years ago needed to be reviewed so that the price of gas offered to Edo residents will reflect the reality of today's market. He assured the federal government that he will work with them to make Ulugbo and Edo a gas hub to woo other investors to invest in the location. Obaseki commended President Buhari, the Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Mele Kyari, and the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timipure Silva, for the commissioning of the storage and dispensing plant, noting that the deal commenced the domestic gas revolution in Edo State. A new strain of the novel coronavirus in the United Kingdom triggered concerns over fuel demand recovery. Brent crude was down 72 cents at 1.4% to $50.19 a barrel in the early morning of Tuesday, while the West Texas Intermediate, that is WTI crude, fell 76 cents at 1.6% to $47.21 per barrel. Both benchmark contracts slid nearly 3% on Monday, erasing recent strong gains on the back of the rollout of COVID-19 vaccines seen as key to easing mobility restrictions. Even after the UK government warned that a new variant of the virus seemed to be spreading much faster than previous kinds. India, Pakistan, Russia, Jordan and Hong Kong joined European countries in suspending travel from Britain, and Saudi Arabia, Kuwait and Oman closed their borders completely. Experts are therefore predicting a bleak takeoff of the year 2021 for Nigeria, as crude oil accounts for half of the government's income and about 90% of Nigeria's foreign exchange earnings. Though there's still room for planning, as the proposed 2021 budget is benchmarked on $40 per barrel. And finally, on business, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, said the federal government is reviewing activities at 4 of the nation's land borders, which were reopened last week. Shehu, who made this known on Tuesday during an interview, said the government may close the borders again if there is any trouble. The federal government had on December 16 ordered the immediate reopening of the Seme border in Lagos State, Ilela border in Sokoto State, Maigatari border in Jigawa State and Mfon border in Cross River State after over 1 year of closure. Speaking on Tuesday, Shehu lamented that Nigeria's neighbors had not cooperated with the country to curtail the influx of bandits and small weapons, which he claimed are fueling the insecurity in Nigeria. And that's it on business. Over now to sports, where Manchester City dump Arsenal out of the Carabao Cup and have advanced into the semi-finals. More to come in our sports bulletin this morning. Manchester City have eased into the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup after a comfortable 4-1 win against struggling Arsenal at Emirates on Tuesday night. Arsenal have now suffered their biggest home defeat in a major domestic cup match since losing 5-0 to Chelsea in League Cup 4th round in November 1998. The Gunners' hopes of a fast start to calm their nerves amid a dreadful run were immediately dashed inside 3 minutes as Man City took the lead through Gabriel Jesus. And finally in sports, Lionel Messi has toppled Pele's long-standing record of goals for a single club with his 644th strike for Barcelona in the 3-0 La Liga win at Real Valladolid. Messi's second-half goal saw him overtake the mark, which the Brazil great had amassed over 19 seasons for Santos. Clement Lenglet's header from Messi's cross had given Barcelona the lead after 21 minutes, with Martin Braithwaite given a start ahead of Antoine Griezmann, knocking in a second before halftime. Messi's second-half goal saw him overtake the mark which Brazil great Pelé had set. Ronald Koeman's men closed out for a first away La Liga win since the start of October to sit 5th in the table, 8 points behind leaders Atletico Madrid, who had earlier won at third-placed Real Sociedad. And that's it on sports. And with the sports stories, we come to the end of our package this morning. But before we leave, a quick recap of the headlines. President Buhari has extended the mandate of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 to 2021. Governor Obaseki has tasked religious leaders to help check the COVID-19 spread. And SIM card owners are going to be held liable for offences committed with a SIM card linked with their national identity number. Do remember that the continued unity of Nigeria is a collective responsibility. Be sure to play your part. Do not forget, you can listen to us from anywhere in the world by visiting our website at www.kufm.net, or you can download our mobile app from the Google Play Store. We are also live on YouTube at KUFM Nigeria, and you can also listen to us on radiogarden.com. KUFM News Dawn was produced by Nosahai Owadiai. I am Charles Oporum saying thanks for listening and good morning.
KUFM News. Concise, precise, balanced, unbiased.
We are live from Benin City to the world. This is 92.7 KUFM News Dawn.